Now I want to create that database of FBI again for you to see how we start. I type access here, and here it is. I don't know why it is not coming up. Here you go, access ACC, and this is Microsoft Access. And here is blank database. I double click on it. And I see here there is a table here. Mine was, you remember, it was AMW. I will change it later on. But here I will click here, and the first person that I put was Sayed. And then I click enter. He was 26, he's and from Virginia, and it was yes. Then I go and put my next person, which is Brian. Brian is 18 years old and is from West Virginia and is yes. Then I click under Brian and I put Marissa. Marissa is 65 and West Virginia and is not a male. And I put no. And then finally Ashley. Ashley is 55, lives in West Virginia, and I put no in here. Therefore, my table is already being created. I have my table in here. How nice it is if I can change this one to AMW and change the name of the database as the FBI. Therefore, I click here and click Save As. And I click Save As here. Just that way I can save it on my desktop for now. It says the object must be closed. I click yes. That means the table is open. Do you want to change table? I want to change the table. I put some information in that table. It's telling me, what do you want to call the table? Do you remember I called my table as America's Most Wanted, AMW? And I click OK. And then let's see with the database. It's trying to save it. I will scroll up. I will click desktop and I will call it. I already have FBI. Therefore, I am going to call it FBI and then put a hyphen and then put Sayed here, for example. That way I know that it is a new database I created. And I click enable editing. And my already FBI table, the FBI Sayed, is being created. I'm going to close this. That way you see it. There is a database here called FBI, and it is called Sayed, that is being created. It has a table in it which is called America's Most Wanted. If I click here, I see the list of the people in there. And here they are. It has 5 people, 4 people, and I can of course add Donald Trump here from here, or I can create a form to put Donald Trump there. For now, I learned how to create a table in a new database with a table in it. Now I want to create a query, and they tell me that there was an armed robbery by someone who is 18 years old, who was less than 20 in West Virginia. Therefore, I have to create. I click here, create. Create what? Create a query. I click here, and it is a simple query I am going to create. I click OK. And in this query, I want to know, one thing I did, I forgot to name these things. Let me click cancel here. Before I click create, I want to change this name of field 1, as you all know, to name, because these are the names of the people. Therefore, I am going to click here, and I right click and click rename field. As you know, I'm going to call it name. I'm going to click on field 2, and I click OK. And I'm going to right click on field 2 and click rename, and I type age, as you can guess. And then I'm going to click on field 3, rename field, and I'm going to call it state. And I am going to click on field 4, right click and click rename and put male, and then I put a question mark here. That way we have our table created. Now that we have our table, I go and click create and query. I want to create a query, a simple query, because they are telling me there was an armed robbery in Wardensville. I click OK. And now, what do I want? The person telling me, the cashier is telling me she cannot or he cannot give me any kind of number, ID number of the person. and is not able to tell me that the person was male or female. I am interested to know about the name of the person. I click here. And the cashier is telling me was less than 20. Therefore, this is the age. I bring the age also because age is important. She's telling me less than 20. And it's telling me the tag had a state on it, West Virginia. I bring that one. Therefore, I am narrowing it down. I am not going to bring these two into. And they are coming from my table here, which is AMW. And I click next. And I click next. And I click finish. Therefore, I narrow. Do you see a query is being created from here? It is query from America's Most Wanted, and it has been narrowed down. It doesn't have social security number, and it doesn't have a male or female because the cashier is not able to tell me it was male or female. After this is created, now I have to put the criteria to sell the person. Is the cashier is telling me the tag was from West Virginia and also it was less than 20 years old. Because it's telling me, I go to my home tab and here I go to my, where it says the view, I go to my design view. I am now in datasheet view. Do you see datasheet? When I say datasheet, it's more like an Excel, but I have to go to my design to put my criteria. What kind of criteria is cashier telling me? It's telling me it is less than 20. She is or he is also giving me another good information. And even by less than 20, we can find Brian. But the good thing is that she has one more information from me that says that the estate was from West Virginia. And I come here and click on run to see who is going to pop up. And this is Brian. It popped, Brian, whoever who was less than 20 in West Virginia, it picked. If you have 3 people less than 20 in West Virginia, it would have picked up 3. Then I had to use other ways and find out, suppose at that time, most likely, another person with the same, criteria, maybe was in Japan. Therefore, that was not that person. Maybe it was Brian who lived around the area. Therefore, that's the way. Let me go and remove my criteria to bring everybody back here. And then I come here, I get rid of this in here, I get rid of this in here, and then I run it to bring everybody back. That is the query now, doesn't show who. Okay, now we know what a query is. Now imagine that we go, I click here to go to our table. This is the table that we know. Imagine that we want to put Donald Trump here. But the problem is that because imagine it's not the date, it's a hospital, and we don't want the people to see everybody's name. For that reason, we want to go and create what? We want to create a form. This is the form. I click on the form, and guess what? The form is already created, and this form has 4 people in it, and 1, 2, 3, 4. If I click here, the first person is Sayed. I go to the next person, which is Brian, next person, and 4th person is Ashley. Now, if I want to put a new person whose name is Donald Trump, I click here, and then when I try to type Trump, it doesn't allow me to type. Something is wrong. The reason I cannot put Donald Trump here is because I am in my design view here. I have to be on my form view. That's where we want to be able. I click on form view, and now I see it allows me to put Trump, age 55, for example, state Florida, and is it a male? And yes, it is a male. Therefore, I created my form, and the form has 5 people. I click here. It wants me to put more people here. Therefore, I'm going to close this one. It asks me, do you want to change it? Changes. I click yes, and I click change yes. I want to call the form AMW. This is a form that pulls information from AMW. I click OK. Now I go to Sayed FBI again, and if I look at here, I will see I have my table here. And do you see Trump? Oh, I misspelled Trump here. I can put P. Okay. And Trump already came from the form. I have a table called America's Most Wanted. If I click here, I have a query. Do you see the query pops up here? This is form. This is table. This is query. And then I have my forms also here. And any new person I have to put on this, if let's say the next person is Obama or something, I can go to here and add Obama now in here, or I can go to my form, which is more efficient way of doing so. And I can come here and click here. I know if I click here, uh, fourth person, fifth person, and I can click here, sixth person, a new person. Remember that I have to be in my not design view, but I have to be on my form view. If I go to design view, well, you might be asking, what is the design view? It is the design view allows you to design. We will talk about it to change the design of the way that this form looks like. Some people like the form to have a color of blue. I can change it to blue here, for example. Therefore, this a table has its own design view. Query has its own design view, which you are already familiar with this one, because while I am here, I have to be on my home tab. I have to click on view, and you know why I might go to design view. On query, usually we go to the query, we go to design view to see, suppose, put some criteria, say was it male or female or something, and then you know what form is. Now imagine the director of the FBI is asking you, could you go and run a report for him? And in that report, you could, that shows how many people we have in our database. We know that we have 5 people in our database. And he might ask about the average age of the people. Therefore, in order to do that, you are on table here. And I go and click on create. And then here is report. A report is being created. I am not sure whether it is on design view or form view. And maybe it is on design view. If I show this one to the director of the FBI, he won't like it. He wants me to go to the report view, which is here. Here looks much more professional. Report view is like here, and I can print this one and give it to him. It has the total number of the America's Most Wanted, and I can do more calculation. Even I can put some charts for him, bar charts or everything. The report allows me to do that. And now that I know about it, I'm going to close this, and here we go. After I close it and I click yes, and it says that what should I put my report AMW? That's okay. I am going to click FBI, say it. And if you look at here, let me see how many more minutes we have left in here in our lecture. And if you see here, the table that I have has America's Most Wanted. That is my table. Okay, and then we have a table here which is America's Most Wanted. We know who they are. We have a query, we narrowed it down, but we deleted our criteria. We can go back there and click here and put our criteria here and put Brian out. And then we have form. We can put the new names of the people. If I wanted to put a new name, I can click here one by one to come, or I can click here and put Obama here. And then I have a report for the director of the FBI. And therefore, that is main concept of access. Now, we might have another. Look at this table here. That is America's Most Wanted. Now, there is another question. FBI doesn't have one table. It has many tables. Because in America's Most Wanted, we might have 1,000 people. How about FBI, I think, has 30,000 employees. Can we have under this table one for America's Most Wanted? That can we have another table that we can put its agents in that table also? That way we can have 2 tables. In that case, then maybe I should click here, create. And as you see, a table here, I click table. And of course, what do I want to here is written table 1. I don't want to name it table 1. I want to name it a better name. How about if I click here and I right click and see I rename and I click OK? It doesn't allow me to change it now because I have to close my table and later on. Therefore, imagine that I have one of my agents is Bush. And imagine that Bush is, for example, I pay him $100 an hour. And then Bush, for example, lives in, I can put some information, has a blue eyes. Okay. Then I have another agent whose name is Clinton. And I pay Clinton $150 an hour. That's an agent. And he lives in New York. Therefore, and I'm going to close this. And it says, do you want to change? Yes. and I click table one. How about if I call table one, this table, how about if I call it agents? And then I click OK. And now I go to Sayed FBI. Look how nice it is. And it is going to pop up with two tables. One table is agent, one American